King Sr. Today we are talking about the wife of Martin Luther King Sr. and the mother of Martin Luther King Jr. This is the woman, Alberta Christine Williams King. Alberta Christine William King. Oh my God. We have a story to tell you. She was born in the month of my birth, September the 13th. She was shot and killed in the year of my birth. Oh my God. You want to hear it again? She was born in the month of my birth, September. And she was killed in the year of my birth, 1974. My God. She was born on the 13th day of September, 1904, 5 years before Kwame Nkrumah was born. He himself born in the month of my birth, September. My brother, my sister, she was such a powerful woman. In fact, she was born into the Baptist church, the Christian church. Her parents were Reverend Adam Daniel Williams. At the time, a preacher of the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, they say Atlanta, in Georgia. Her mother was called Jeannie Coleste Pax Williams. Our heroine for today, Alberta Williams, graduated from high school at the Spearman Seminary and earned a teaching certificate at the Hampton Normal and Industrial Institute, now called Hampton University, in 1924. Producer, please put up a photograph of Martin Luther King Jr. and the mother. There is a photograph I would like to show the class. A photo of Martin Luther King Jr. There's also Henry Elkins in the middle and Alberta Williams. Let's see that photograph. Watch me. Now, she was a teacher by profession. And she was also a civil rights activist fighting for black people to have their rights honored. Williams met Martin Luther King, then known as Michael King. He later became the senior after he had a child called Junior. In fact, they loved each other and they decided to get married. They got married. Now, after their wedding, the newly married couple moved into an upstairs bedroom at the Williams family home, which is where all of their children were subsequently born, 3 of them. Now, the King family lived in the home, this home that I mentioned, until King's mother's death from a heart attack in 1941. And I'll tell you more about that. At the time, my brother, my sister, something interesting happened. Today, we are taking you into the history of this great black woman. Now, this is a very, very interesting photograph that you see here. And that is Martin Luther King Jr. in the middle. On his right, it's his mother. And on the left is his wife. We'll tell you more. My brother, my sister, I was just taking you a little bit into the history of these great people. Now, the Williams were a very great family. In fact, Martin Luther King Sr. met our heroine for today, Alberta Christine Williams King, and they decided to get married. In fact, their parents from the Williams side also were a very wonderful Christian family, and they lived in a certain house that also housed the next generation and even the next generation of the Williams. In order not to bore you with too much genealogy, let us look at this. Now, the first child that was born to this family was known as Willie Christine King. and was born on the 11th of September 1927. It looks like September is the birthright of the Williams. Michael King Jr. followed, and he was born on January 15, 1929. My brother, my sister, oh gosh. And then Alfred Daniel Williams King. My brother, my sister, and he was named after his grandfather on the 30th day of July in 1930. About this time, Michael King changed his name to Martin Luther King Sr. That is the father of Martin Luther King Jr. My brother, my sister, today we are telling you history. And look at what happened right now. All children lived in one house. It was a beautiful house. My brother, my sister, a beautiful house. They lived in, they went to church, they preached in church, they sang in church. The family was a beautiful family. But he had a lot of tragedies. Can I take you through a bit of the tragedies? Now, Martin Luther King Jr. himself, a son, was assassinated on the 4th of April in 1968. He was assassinated. He was killed. And this is important. I need you to take a note of that. He was assassinated on the 4th day of April in 1968. 6 years later, in 1974, his own mother was shot in church. He was assassinated while standing on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis. King was in Memphis to lead a march in support of the local sanitation workers union. He was pronounced dead 1 hour later. Mrs. King, a source of strength following her son's assassination, faced fresh tragedy the next year when her younger son and last-born child, Alfred Daniel Williams King, who himself was named after his grandfather, in fact, was also drowned. He drowned in a pool. So 2 of her sons just died like that. One shot and killed. A year later, another of the sons was drowned in a swimming pool, not knowing she herself was waiting for her own tragedy. Alberta herself was shot and killed on June 30 in 1974 at the age of 69 by one Marcus Wayne Chinot. Marcus Wayne Chinot. He was just a 23-year-old black man from Ohio who had adopted the theology of the black Hebrew Israelites and felt that the woman belonged to a church that did not preach the right gospel. He picked up a gun and shot and killed this woman on the 30th day of June in 1974. So the Martin Luther King Jr. family was a family of so many tragedies. Oh my God. Now, 2 weeks later, something interesting also happened. It's interesting. 2 weeks after the death of Martin Luther's mother, I'm talking about Martin Luther King Jr., some fresh tragedy hit the family. Confusion in the family, left, right, and center. But the good news was that the murderer was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. The sentence was upheld on appeal. He was later resentenced to life in prison penalty as a result of King's family's opposition to the death penalty. Martin Luther King's family itself said, we are not interested in the death penalty. And then they put him on what is known as life imprisonment. On August 3, 1995, he suffered a stroke and was taken to hospital. On August 19, he died at the age of 44 from complications of stroke. Today we remember this great black woman. She was a civil rights activist, the mother of Martin Luther King Jr., the wife of Martin Luther King Sr., who spent all her life worshiping God, spent all her life fighting for the rights of black people, spent all her life in the church and doing church activities. She was shot whilst in church. We remember you today and we say thank you so much.